Welcome to the Encouragement Zone with Bishop T. Davis Jr. where your dreams are revived.
Well, welcome to the Encouragement Zone with Bishop T. Davis Jr. And we have a special guest today, Miss Brenda Hampton, all the way from Cortland, North Cortland, Alabama. How you feeling today?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling good. And you?
I'm feeling great. Great to have you. We're going to go to a commercial now, and we will be back and talk about some issues that you will be very interested in. Don't turn that down.
At your locally owned Sparkman Pharmacy, we work with you to provide the necessary tools and services that are needed to help your family live longer, healthier, happier lives. Our compounding specialist at Madison Health Mart allows us to get your medications in a form that is best and most effective for you. Our pill packs and packaging service help ensure that your meds are taken properly. We are dedicated to providing you the knowledge and tools necessary to take care of your family. Sparkman Pharmacy, our family taking care of yours.
Well, like I said, I'm honored to have one of my classmates from the past, Miss Brenda Hampton, and we're going to talk a little bit about our past, very little, amen, but she was in the band at Cortland High School. I played saxophone, she played
The flute.
Amen. And we had some great time. We had a great band. We grew up together. Been knowing her just about all of my life. And Miss Hampton, you want to tell us a little bit about, you growing up, or what gave you the passion to do what you're doing?
Oh, well, I grew up in this town, and to come back from up north and see this town dwindling like that at the sake of greed for man, it really disturbed me, so it put me in a passion for it. As you know, my mother died from renal failure, and I had my grandmother, and my grandfather was dying from renal failure as well. I had given my mother my left kidney to keep her alive, and she was alive for 4 years pain-free. And so with me going back and forth up north, I came home and I was working in a plant. And I went out for my physical exam for my medical insurance at my job, and I became very ill. They tested me, and I had, my blood pressure was going through the roof. And I was at critical ICU. They put me in, and my children came and got me and brought me back here. So I started testing the water. I had friends in high places, and I started testing the water because I kept trying to figure out what we had in common with the other communities where other people were getting sick. And so I looked around, and the only thing that we had in common would be water, and that would be the only thing that I would be using when I would come home on a vacation on the weekend or something. And so we found out that there was industrial toxins in the water from there.
Wow. So you left here when you were in your 20s?
Yes, I left here when I came out of high school in '73. Right. Yes.
And so when you went to, was it Boston? You went up north.
Yes.
And you got sick. Mm-hmm. Is that what happened? You got sick while you were up there?
I had stayed in Boston for like 25 years, and then I came back here. In 2010, I went to Tennessee to stay with my father to take care of him. He was ill. He was stricken with lung cancer, and so I went there to take care of him. And that's when I became ill. I was working in a plant there in 2010.
So your passion really for helping people probably goes back to your upbringing.
Yes, it does. It goes back to my grandfather and my grandmother. My grandfather was named, they called him James Blue, but his name was James Hampton.
He used to play with me all the time.
Yes, and he was the coal man in the community. And so we serviced coal. And then my grandmother, she would churn milk during that time and butter.
Way back then.
And we would share it with the community. My home has always been like the United Nations. You were always welcome there. Food was always there, and you could stay there. We've always done that in the community, so it's inbred in me to help.
Amen. Well, you've always been a kind person, even in the band. You were a leader. Even then, as I can remember, you were very compassionate, but you had a lot of passion. And we're going to talk about that passion later on that is still driving you to do what you're doing. But to lay the foundation, you gave your mother a kidney, one of your kidneys.
Yes.
And she still passed away, and you became ill. And so what are some of the signs of contaminated water that drove you to, okay, check into this? Because you wouldn't just know, okay, maybe it's the water. I believe God had to give you that.
Yes, God did. He has been working with me. As I tell everyone, I'm just along for the ride. It's all God. Because he has opened some doors for me that I know I cannot get into.
Right.
I don't have a title as a mayor, bishop, or anything. I'm just a concerned citizen. And that is the name of my organization. It is the Concerned Citizens of WMEL. Water Authority Grassroots.
Right.
I originally started Concerned Citizens of North Alabama, which was our community, and then I reached out to other communities, which I network now with communities all over the world.
Yes.
That is dealing with
Wait,
contaminated
all over the world?
water. Yes.
Not just in America.
Not just in America. I'm in Africa, Nigeria, Nairobi. I'm all over China, Venezuela. I network with those people. At any point in time during the day, I have about 10,000 followers that follows me during the day.
You're doing a great job. I mean, right here in North Court, I mean, if you live in Lawrence County, you know we're not one of the most richest counties in Alabama. But God has given us rich people in character like you to do the things that you're doing. And you write your organization, Concerned Citizens of West Morgan, East Lawrence Water Authority Grassroots. And your theme is water is a right, not a privilege.
Yes.
We have a right to clean water
Yes, we do.
in America. We're
Yes,
not
we
a third
do.
world country.
No, we're not.
We pay taxes.
But apparently they think that we're a third world country. We have been fighting that, and that was my whole issue with it, because water is a right. It's not a privilege. And we should be able to turn our faucets on and have a clean drink of water without feeling that we're going to become ill. Now, we know from the Brockmeyer study that drinking contaminated water causes renal failure, and that's what my parents and grandparents went through. And I see a lot of that in the community. I recognize that from working with the toxicologists, the epidemiologists, and we do have a well-known university that does our testing of the water.
Wow. Praise God.
And we have been out on the Tennessee River on 9 different sites, and I do have documentation to back up what I'm saying concerning that. Currently, now we have the university is out there. It has seeked a loan on itself to go and do the testing. As soon as they finish the testing, they will give me the results, because they want to publish it first medically.
Yes. So renal failure. Then you got a kidney and renal failure tied together, maybe.
Yes. Kidney and renal failure is the same. That's where a lot of our people get confused when, because they said medically term for it is renal failure.
Right.
We'll say kidney.
Right.
And gallbladder, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, uncelerated colitis. It has birth defects, and it messes with the pregnancy. Now, I have a client that she's 5 months pregnant, and they did the 3D ultrasound the other day, and the baby already has fluids on his kidneys.
Wow.
Now, she's going up to Nashville to have it treated there. She's going to get further medical treatment during her pregnancy. And that's part of the contamination of the water. So if you are pregnant, do not drink the water. And if you have infant children, do not fix their formula with that water. Use as much bottled water as you can, because we have found that these chemicals, if you try to boil the water, it intensifies it. It cannot be heat,
That's good
oil,
information.
fire,
That's good information.
all resistant. You know, so, and it sticks to our food. We, as being people of color, we cook like beans and greens, and that Teflon sticks to our food, so we're eating it as we cook and using that
did
in
not
our
know
water.
that.
Yes.
Because you would think boiling the water would purify it, but you said it makes it worse.
Yes, it intensifies it.
Yes.
And if fire cannot destroy it, come on, because at a certain degree, your body and my body is going to deteriorate with cremation, so, and it cannot be destroyed with fire.
Wow.
This is really some serious toxic chemicals that we have in our water, and unfortunately, our state officials, they have known this for a while, that this has been going on. They have been doing a study here in Lawrence County ever since 1999. Now, 140 families up in Moulton has been tested for these chemicals. I did have a lady down where her whole family is on PFOA and PFOS medication, whereas that in the valley where we live, no one has been tested down here in the valley, because we're only like about 5 miles away from the resource. Our water intake valve is at Lock A in Spring Creek.
Right.
So when I put on my speedometer, I was only like about 5 miles away from it. So we're closer to the source. That's why we have a lot of death and destruction in our community. And I do see the chemicals taking a big toll on the people here in our community.
They are, and you would think when you look at kidney dialysis, many people on dialysis, strokes, birth defects, a lot of that is in our area, cancer. But we just look at it like, okay, it's just normal. But you're saying much of it is tied in to the contaminated water. You named some chemicals, and we'll go back to that when we come back from our commercial break. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that and how did it get in the water? How long have this been going on that it wasn't even dealt with? We have Miss Brenda Hampton. She will be back, and I'll be back after a break. Call a friend, tell them to tune in to this station. Good information today.
Mr. Shoes, the home of the hookup, where you'll find men's suits starting at $89, three-piece suits for only $99, women's suits at $99, savings of up to 50% on men's and women's selections, men's and women's shoes starting at $39. Let Mr. Shoes hook you up. Also check out our pastoral wear.
At your locally owned Sparkman Pharmacy, we work with you to provide the necessary tools and services that are needed to help your family live longer, healthier, happier lives. Our compounding specialist at Madison Health Mart allows us to get your medications in a form that is best and most effective for you. Our pill packs and packaging service help ensure that your meds are taken properly. We are dedicated to providing you the knowledge and tools necessary to take care of your family. Sparkman Pharmacy, our family taking care of yours.
Well, we're back. We're back with Miss Brenda Hampton, and we have some great information she does about our water and the danger that we face here in the area. And she was talking about the chemicals that's in the water. Could you elaborate on that, Ms. Hampton?
Okay, there are perlyfluoric acid chemicals that is in our water. It's called PFOA and PFOS. Those are two of the main contaminants in there, and they are all carcinogenic. And doing the testing, we went out on the Tennessee River in 9 different sites and found that there was 10 extra contaminants in the water. Now, fish have already been tested from these industrial toxins, and we found that the male fish has eggs in their testicles. So sooner or later, we're not going to have fish within the river. And I can see the contaminants taking a toll in our community by it being so small. I do have a client that is confused, and I have been talking to some parents to tell them some of the children may feel that they're in a male body but feel like they are female, but they still want to date females. That's the confusion of some of those toxic chemicals that is in the water that our children are going through, and I can see it. I have one client that feels that she is a male, but she has 3 children. So how much of a male is she? And we can't throw away our children because of that. It's because of the chemicals that has been done. And this has been done to us for the last 50 years. They say that they have been putting this in the water and that they have been doing. Basically, doing my research that we have been doing over the last few years, we found out that we're pretty much like a test study. I'm going to bring you back to the time when we had the dirt gravel roads here, and finding out and going to the state meetings that during that time they used to send those tankers through, and there was clear liquids on the back of the truck, and they were spraying, and we thought that it was water to hose down the dirt. And those were toxic chemicals that they were putting in our community during that time. We didn't know. It came out when I was on satellite radio, and we was talking to one of the state officials. I've met with EPA, ADAM, ASTAR, all our state officials. I've even written an open letter to our governor asking her to come to Lawrence County because of the death and the total amount of death that we have had. And especially here in Cortland and Red Bank. Red Bank is catching a double whammy because of the landfill that is left untended down at Champion. And so I have a lot of sick clients down there. I give out bottled water, free clothing, and food at the North Alabama Academy, which I open as a resource for all the people that is affected by the contamination in this area. And we do have a lot of people that is sick and that is in need. And at the same time, they're trying to pay an expensive water bill along with having to buy bottled water. And so a lot of them has resulted back to using tap water and has become very ill. I have a lot of people that is on the hospital list right now that is waiting. And we know from the Brockmeyer study that these contaminants are carcinogenic and they're going to stay in our body. It takes like 9 years for it to wear down in your body if you don't have any more contact with these PFOAs and the PFOS. It takes 9 years, but you will die with it in your body.
So what you're saying, if you stop drinking contaminated water today, it would take 9 years for it to flush through your system.
We are exposed to these contaminants through a lot of different ways during our environment during the day. Like a lot of our food containers and stuff that we use for fast food and all that, PFOAs and all that is used in that. Now the industry is trying to change a lot of that since they brought it out, and it has become to be known that it's carcinogenic. But again, we still can be exposed to it in our daily way.
And 50 years,
this
has been going on.
And we've lost a lot of people due to that in illnesses. And as you can see, a lot of the residents came down with cancer. We have been keeping up with the deaths that has been in the area. I have spoken to several funeral home directors about funerals. Jackson Funeral Home, I spoke to him. And we've also spoke to the director on 157, which they have a funeral up there just about every other day, if not. And you know it's a Lawrence County resident.
Right.
This affects part of Trinity, Hillsborough, East Lawrence, Cortland, Red Bank, and Town Creek. This contamination. It's over 100,000 families that this water has affected, not knowing how many people is within those families. They're going on 100,000 customers that they have as customers for WMEL.
And some of them might be in Decatur too, right?
Exactly. So a lot of people has been affected. Now, what we were told by the toxicologists and the epidemiologists and everything is that anybody that has visited here and used the water that might have illnesses, you might need to tell them that they need to be checked. Now, they do have a thing, I should have brought my form to show you, that they do have a thing that has unexplained illness. And from going door to door around in the communities, I have found that a lot of people are going to the doctor. The doctor is unsure of what's wrong with them and have them on a lot of medication. And so, and I'm telling them to tell them that they have been exposed to industrial toxins. They live in an area that is contaminated. Not only the water, we have sludge that has been put on our ground, on the fields around us. That is human waste.
Yes, you can smell it.
It's called human manure. I went to North Birmingham, another black community, and found 252 cars of human poop that is being brought into our state, human waste, that is being brought into our state by our state officials, letting them in here now, to bring it in here. And we're smelling it 24/7 in these communities, you know, of human waste.
Wow. Well, you've given us a lot. Now, my wife, and I'm gonna say this, she cooks, and we do drink bottled water, but she was cooking with, you know, regular water, and then we started looking at, okay, if we can, we need to start cooking with bottled water also. And then people take baths and showers with the contaminated water. So the answer is not just drinking bottled water; it's also cooking, bathing, whatever we do. We need to look at the water that we.
Exactly. The only thing that we found that this water will not affect is the washing of the clothing and the dishes.
But some people, when they wash their clothes, make them itch and stuff. So I don't know if it's something in the water. I never thought about it. But, you know, when you have tender skin and stuff like that, sometimes that might be a problem, too, with the water. We don't know. But you mentioned sludge, or you were mentioning poop.
Yes.
that we're, you know, down here in Lawrence County, Alabama, that, you know, it's a farming community, and
yes,
it's easy to get chemicals in the land.
Yes. Well, see, they gave the what they call human manure now they gave that to the farmers around for free fertilizer. Well, if you got 7,000 acres to fertilize, it can cut pretty deep into your profit.
Right.
So to get free fertilizer, of course, the farmers would want that. And so they would go get the free fertilizer, they would put it on the farming area, and we would smell it. Well, inhaling that, right now, Lawrence County is under health advisory for is like the breathing. They're testing the air quality here as well as the water quality. All of that is in effect. When you go into Decatur, that big, huge mound that's right there to Morgan and Lawrence County line, that has a lot of toxic chemicals that is in there. That was about to explode. That was one of the landfills that we were looking at as well as looking at the landfill that we have here in Cortland that's over at Sunnybrook. We've been watching that. And we also have a landfill that is down at Champion that is being unmanned. We're watching that as well. And each one of those landfills has about a 40 to 50-foot landfill. Now, we have, with the Environmental Justice Project, we did put a stop to some of the human waste in coming in here from New York and New Jersey, but we do have private contractors that is doing it. So we do ask the residents, if you happen to see a truck late at night pulling at the back of the field, because we all live in a rural area, you might be able to get a number or a name or something off of that, because we have been targeting the big name companies. We have put a stop to them, but we do have some private contractors that is still hauling.
It's amazing you said that, because my father fought in the Korean War, and he would tell me that they would use human waste as a fertilizer, but the people would actually use the bathroom out in the rice fields to fertilize the rice. And here we are in 2019, just sophisticated, doing the same thing on a worse basis, because there's a lot of deception in it.
Yes.
Yes, and I just take my hat off to the research that you've done. And some people watching this broadcast might say, well, that's Lawrence County, Cortland, North Cortland, Moulton, Trinity. It is part of Decatur. But many people who are watching, whether you're in Huntsville or Florence or other large cities, you might have relatives that live here.
As well.
Yeah, so you should be concerned also, because just because it's down here in Lawrence County doesn't mean it's not affecting the whole North Alabama area.
Yes.
And
well, North Alabama is under it, just in speaking on Alabama, but at any point in time, we have 22,000 cities across the U.S. that is drinking contaminated water.
22,000.
22,000 cities. I also network with Flint, Michigan. Erin Brockovich did a story on us over here when it first broke with Bentley, when Robert Bentley was the governor over here. She did a story, so she has been working on our case. We have been in contact with California, Virginia. We're compared to Hoosick Falls, New York. And we're also compared to Merrimack, New Hampshire, which they have contaminated water. Now, in June 9th through the 12th, I will be in Boston as a representative from our county, as the guest speaker to speak on our county and the death and devastation that is taking place in our rural area. And they're very concerned because a lot of this is pushed into minority areas. And when you live in a minority area, it's only so much contamination that the government can pass on you by federal law. So, being in Lawrence County, we have a lot of contamination. Our land is contaminated, our people is contaminated, our animals is contaminated, which Lawrence County is a big hunting and fishing type area. So right now they're giving out advisories about the deer, but we do have pictures where people have caught the deer on their deer cams with ulcers and different things growing on them from the contamination. Also, we do have people that have done fishing that has cut the fish open and has found ulcers in the fish. So we know that this contamination reaches very far, and it's very devastating to this county, which is a very poor county.
You got that right. But you know what? You just opened up something else. Our pets. Our pets are even at risk.
Yes. I have had several of my clients have pets have died from renal failure. I currently have a toy poodle that my daughter bought, and his name is Jackson. He doesn't drink any tap water. He drinks bottled water, and he's been surviving so far.
Yeah. Well, I cannot say that I've given my dogs bottled water. I can't, but I hope they live.
Yes.
But you have an organization called Concerned Citizens Water Authority of Grassroots here in Lawrence County. And you do take donations. You're a nonprofit. You give the elderly, seniors. I've seen you doing it. Hope we get some pictures that we can show in the broadcast about what you do here in the county, where your headquarters is. If anyone wants to help you, they can. Tell us what you do.
I give out free water, clothing, and I help the elderly. I supply water and food and things to all 3 complexes there is here in Cortland. I have a list of 200 homebound people. I service Red Bank, 200. So I have to have 200 cases of water right off the top before I can give out. That's why when people ask me to give them 2 and 3, I cannot afford to give them 2 and 3. Now, me and my friend, I'm engaged to a doctor, and we have spent $11,000 in water out of our own private money for this community. We just did our taxes, and this is what we have spent. That's not including time, flights, and other energies and going to the meetings and things. But it's dear to me because it was an attempt on my life in coming here, because I was paying the water company, you know, each month to come here, and they were selling me contaminated water. So if I wanted to drink some poison, I would go to the hardware store, buy me a can, and pop the top and drink it. You know, I would not let a politician kill me just for the sake of greed. And I don't understand our politicians sitting back and where can they just kill off a whole county of people? And if I poison you, I'm going to jail. How can they just poison the whole county of people and feel that it's all right? Where do they do that at?
It's not legal.
No, it's not. That's why we're also asking for prosecution of our leadership.
That's right.
I am asking for that.
Yes, and we do know that some of the companies here in the area are in lawsuit litigation. So there's a lot going on. You're going to hear a lot more about this. It's not going away.
No, it's not.
And I thank God for your passion and your courage, because you did tell me before that your life had been even threatened.
Oh, yes.
Because of what you're doing, because you're getting in people's pocketbook.
Yes. It's even got a little bit more tense here lately. I'm just now coming back into town in the last couple of days because I have been out. And when you had contacted me before, I was out of town. But I have straightened it up, and we have made my security aware of what's going on. So they are watching me. They cut up a doll and put it in my truck. No. They vandalized my truck. They've also vandalized my car. They've tried to get photos of me. I get calls. I'm going to get another second number.
I thank God for your passion. And you mentioned about donations. You want to give us the address of where you work out of, and if anyone wants to bring water there, they can. We call it the Academy.
It's the North Alabama Missionary Academy.
Right.
That is the headquarters for the North Alabama Missionary Academy. And it's down at 12447 Jesse Jackson Avenue in North Cortland.
Right.
It's right down from R.A. Hubbard High School.
Right.
And you're welcome to drop off donations there if you would feel to, or you can call and I will pick up the donations.
Yes. So it will be on the screen. It will be on the screen if you want to make a donation. She's nonprofit.
Yes, I'm a 501c3.
Right. And I just want to encourage you. This is the encouragement zone. I want to encourage you. You're an awesome lady.
Thank you.
And us going to school together and all that we did, to see you doing what you're doing, I am so encouraged. You encourage me.
Thank you.
And we're in the people business.
Yes.
It's just one. You're doing it with the water. We're doing it with other areas. But thank you for coming on the Encouragement Zone. May God bless you and prosper you in everything that you do. May you be safe and no harm come to you. And may you have everything that you need to accomplish your mission.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
At your locally owned Sparkman Pharmacy, we work with you to provide the necessary tools and services that are needed to help your family live longer, healthier, happier lives. Our compounding specialist at Madison Health Mart allows us to get your medications in a form that is best and most effective for you. Our pill packs and packaging service help ensure that your meds are taken properly. We are dedicated to providing you the knowledge and tools necessary to take care of your family. Sparkman Pharmacy, our family taking care of yours.